The small room smelled of damp walls and old dreams. Armaan woke up before sunrise every day. The fan above him barely moved. It made a soft, dying noise. His hands were blistered, his eyes heavy from sleepless nights, but he never complained. In the corner of the room slept his 10-year-old daughter, Aisha, curled up under a torn blanket. Her school books were stacked beside her pillow. For Armaan, that pile of books was worth more than gold. Every morning, he'd quietly pack her lunch, half a roti and a boiled egg, wrapped in newspaper. Then he woke her up gently, whispering, "Princess, it's time for your school. One day, you'll change our life." Aisha rubbed her eyes, smiled, and hugged him. "Papa, you'll come to the school function this time, right?" Armaan nodded, though he knew he'd be working at that very hour. Their world was small, but full of love. Outside, poverty waited like a shadow, but inside, their hope glowed like a candle. Armaan worked as a laborer at construction sites. Every evening, he returned covered in dust, but his face always carried a tired smile. Because when Aisha opened the door and shouted, "Papa," the world suddenly felt worth it. He had only one dream: to make sure his daughter's dream never died. Work was hard. Days were long. Sometimes, he didn't earn enough to buy even a full meal. Still, every night he placed a coin jar near Aisha's bed. "For your future," he would say. The jar filled slowly, but his pride grew faster. One rainy morning, Armaan arrived at the construction site to find half the workers laid off. The contractor shouted, "We don't need everyone today. Come back next week." But Armaan couldn't afford a next week. He begged, "Please, sir, I'll do double work. Just one day's pay for my daughter's school fee." Pity filled the contractor's eyes for a moment. Then he handed Armaan a shovel. "Fine, just for today." Armaan worked like a man possessed, through the storm, through the pain. Hours later, a beam collapsed near him. He jumped aside, but a steel rod grazed his shoulder, tearing through his shirt. Blood mixed with rain. He held his wound, whispering, "Not now, not when she needs me." That night, he came home late. His shoulder bled through his shirt, but when Aisha saw him, he smiled and said, "Papa fell a little at work, nothing serious." She cried quietly as she cleaned his wound. He only said one line that night: "Pain doesn't matter, Aisha. Promises do." Weeks later, Aisha's school announced a trip and a small scholarship test. She came home running, her eyes bright. "Papa, if I score top marks, they'll take me to the city museum." Armaan smiled. "Then we'll start studying tonight." But when the test day came, Aisha didn't have shoes to wear. Her old pair had torn apart. She looked down sadly, but Armaan said nothing. That night, he quietly sold his old wristwatch, the last thing his late wife had gifted him, to buy her a new pair of black school shoes. The shopkeeper said softly, "Old memories, sir?" Armaan smiled with wet eyes. "Yes, but new dreams need sacrifices." Aisha topped the test. The teacher congratulated her. "Your father must be proud." Aisha smiled. "He always is, ma'am, even when he's tired." When she came home, she hugged Armaan tight, showing her shoes, her marks, and her smile. He said softly, "See, I told you. One day, you'll touch the sky." But inside, he whispered a prayer. "Let my strength last until her wings are ready." Years passed. Aisha grew older and wiser. She wanted to become a doctor, to help poor families like hers. Armaan grew weaker. His hands trembled while lifting bricks, his cough worsened. He hid it from Aisha, but one evening, he fainted at the sight. The workers panicked, took him to a small clinic. The doctor looked serious. He has severe lung damage, years of dust, and no rest. He needs treatment and full rest, or he won't survive long. When Aisha arrived, she burst into tears. "Papa, you promised you'd see me in my doctor's coat." Armaan smiled weakly. "I still will, my princess, but maybe from somewhere higher." She cried louder, "No, Papa, don't talk like that." But Armaan knew the truth. He had given his life piece by piece, brick by brick, for her future. For the first time, he missed work the next day. He sat outside their house, watching Aisha study under a streetlight. He whispered softly, "This is what a father lives for, even if it means dying fulfilled." Months passed. Aisha got a scholarship and left for the city medical college. Armaan sold his old tools to pay her travel expenses. He hugged her tightly before she left. "Go make me proud," he said, "and never forget, your dreams are my breath." Aisha looked back one last time before boarding the bus, her eyes full of tears. Armaan waved until the bus vanished. Then he returned home, alone but smiling. Days turned to weeks. His health declined rapidly. One evening, as the sun set, he sat in Aisha's empty room, holding her old books. He whispered, "You did it, my child. You're living the life I promised." That night, he closed his eyes peacefully. Weeks later, when Aisha returned home after receiving her first medical award, she found the door locked. The neighbor handed her a letter. It read, "My dear Aisha, if you're reading this, I'm already watching you from above. I couldn't buy you everything, but I gave you everything I had. My life, my dreams, my love. Promise me you'll never cry for me. Instead, smile, because your success means your father kept his promise." Aisha held the letter against her chest, tears falling on every word. Outside, the sun rose slowly, shining through their broken roof. It was as if heaven itself was proud. Broken heart, if you like this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more heart-touching stories just like this one. Sparkles.